Procrastination is a form of depression. You ever gotten into a rut? I still do. You think I don't procrastinate? I do. And what happens? You procrastinate a little bit here, you procrastinate a little bit there, and then 45 days from now, you're in a bad spot. I want you to understand how subtle it is and how easy you can get off target. It's a small thing where you start to procrastinate on one task, and then that shit starts to stack up and compound. And then what happens? You're in a bad spot. Mentally, you're in a funk. The one trait in everybody that I've ever seen succeed in my business is their grit and tenacity, which comes from your fight. Because imperfect action will beat perfection every day of the week.
You want to know what I learned today? Procrastination is a trauma response from not having your needs met continually as a child, unless it was from absolute necessity. So now as an adult, you only prioritize things that are of absolute necessity. That one's going to take a while to process.
In today's business and financial news, let's discuss the cost of procrastination.
Procrastination is ruining your business, but you don't call it that. You call it perfecting your strategy or waiting for the right time. But let's be real, that's just procrastination in disguise. Business owners love to say they're strategizing or refining their offer, but deep down, they're just avoiding execution. You hesitate on making critical business decisions such as hiring, firing, pricing, scaling, because you're afraid of getting it wrong. You delay launching your next offer because it's not ready yet. You overanalyze your marketing instead of putting it in front of paying customers. But here's the truth. While you're stuck in analysis paralysis, someone else is closing the deals you should have had. Someone else is hiring the team that could have scaled your business 10 times. Someone else is building momentum while you're still stuck on tweaking your logo, rewriting your sales page, or second-guessing your prices. Perfectionism isn't making your business better. It's making you broke. Every day you delay is money left on the table. Execution beats hesitation every single time.
Do you procrastinate? What are you procrastinating about right now? Is it a past due bill? Or perhaps it's your taxes, due later this month? We all procrastinate about something.
The problem with procrastination is the current version of you is screwing over the future version of you. When you take action or don't take action, you are not keeping the future version of you in consideration. You're not keeping how that person is going to feel. What this creates is just a perpetuating cycle of unhappiness and not going where you want to go because you don't want to make changes in the present moment. What you need to do in order to stop procrastinating in the moment is to start thinking about the future version of you. What is she doing? How is she feeling? How is she thinking? Your actions should be beneficial for the future version of you and not keeping that future version of you stuck in a cycle of shame and guilt. If you want to go anywhere in the future that you desire, you have to start making changes in the present moment. In the morning when you don't want to wake up, in the moment it feels so good to sleep in for that next 10 to 15 minutes, automatically switch that thought and that statement and that question to how is this going to benefit future version of me? Will it make the future version of me feel even worse about herself? Start connecting, start talking back and forth to that future version of you. And I guarantee you things will start changing and shifting for the better.
And there are definitely costs involved with our continued delay of doing something that we know needs to be completed. According to an article from lssmn.org, in 2017, there are 8 ways that procrastination can cost us. Procrastination is putting off doing something until the last minute. In some cases, people can thrive on procrastination, such as meeting a deadline for school or work. However, when it comes to finances, procrastinating can mean extra money out of your pocket. And for some, extra expenses can push their finances over the edge.
3 reasons you procrastinate. Number 3, fear of incompetence. You avoid tasks because you don't want to feel or appear incompetent. Procrastination stems from the difficulty in accepting this sense of incompetence. However, by sidestepping the task, you miss the opportunity to learn how to do it correctly. This perpetuates the fear of appearing incompetent, which leads to a cycle of procrastination. The second reason you procrastinate is the avoidance of the feeling of dread. Procrastination sets in as you dodge the feeling of dread. You only start tasks at the very last moment, and these are driven by a spike in adrenaline. This teaches your body that the only way for you to start tasks is during high-pressure situations. Number 1. You procrastinate to escape anxiety. Procrastination becomes a coping mechanism to evade the anxiety associated with the task. You then opt for more pleasurable activities in the short term. However, in the long term, your anxiety only grows. The key to overcome procrastination lies in developing the skills to confront and manage unpleasant feelings.
And then here are the 8 ways. Number 1, being disorganized. Being disorganized or having too much clutter in your home makes it hard to know what you actually have. Therefore, you might already own an item, but need to buy another because you can't find the one that you already have. Number 2 is meal planning. When you don't take time to grocery shop and plan meals, that leads to spending more on takeout, delivery, and dining out.
Would you believe me if I told you I could turn this $87 grocery haul into a week's worth of healthy meals, snacks, and desserts for 2 people? Because I can, and you can too. I know the cost of groceries is high right now, and it's a struggle for households to stick to a grocery budget while also prioritizing eating healthfully, but it is possible with some planning and preparation. I've created this meal plan to clock in at less than $100 worth of groceries. It includes breakfast, lunch, 2 snacks, dinner, and dessert, and it provides nearly 100 grams of plant protein per day. By focusing on simple, whole food ingredients, you can get more bang for your buck in terms of nutrients, and when we plan out and prep our meals in advance, we reduce so much food waste as an added benefit. This plan just requires a few hours in the kitchen up front in exchange for a week of stress-free, ready-to-eat meals.
Number 3, saving for emergencies. If you have an income reduction or emergency vet trip, how will you cover that? Without emergency savings, you'll probably have to use credit, causing you to accrue debt. And that means an added-on monthly payment that may not be affordable. Number 4, saving for periodic expenses. It's just as important to save for periodic expenses as it is for emergencies. Examples of periodic expenses include clothes, jackets, shoes, vehicle tabs maintenance, veterinary visits, and home maintenance. Number 5, home or vehicle repair or maintenance. Ignoring or waiting to do maintenance or repairs on your home or vehicle may result in even more costly repairs down the road. For example, if you hold off on fixing that leaky roof, that could lead to added-on costs for water damage or mold to your home, and still needing to fix the roof.
If you have ADHD and you struggle with procrastination, it's because your body's trying to avoid a negative emotion, not because you can't manage your time. When we avoid a task like doing your taxes, or unloading the laundry, or filling out paperwork for work, it's not because we can't manage our time. More often than not, we have plenty of time to complete the task. We might know very well that this is going to take 5 minutes, yet here we are, not doing the task, putting it off. The reason you're procrastinating is because maybe the task seems hard and that makes you feel dumb. Maybe the task is long overdue and it makes us feel guilt or shame. Maybe things pile up and now it seems overwhelming and anxiety producing. So we push away these emotions of confusion, frustration, anxiety, sadness by pushing off these tasks. It's about the emotions, not the clock. So what do? Next time you catch yourself procrastinating, try to ask yourself what you're avoiding and why. And then you can work on managing those emotions and find new ways to tackle that task without setting off those emotional alarms.
And number 6, health. If you have an illness or injury and avoid the doctor, you may find yourself with worsening health and having to miss work. Depending on your benefits, that could be an extremely costly situation if you don't have paid time off to cover those missed days. Number 7, money and budgeting. Never avoid opening up mail, checking your account balance, or reviewing your income and expenses. Putting this off may create even worse problems, such as spending more than you make, insufficient fund fees, late payments, late fees, lower credit score, and debt. That's a lot. Some of us may be dealing with that right now. And then number 8 is retirement. If you don't want to work indefinitely, don't put off saving for retirement until it's too late. Save what you can, when you can. For instance, tax refunds and taking advantage of retirement plans/match programs from your employer. We all procrastinate at times, but when it starts to create financial problems and it costs you money, it's time to stop procrastinating and start being proactive. So, according to the article, those are 4 ways that procrastination can cost you. Can you think of any others? This article really didn't mention the ways in which procrastination can cost you from a non-financial perspective. So let's say, for instance, concerning relationships, maybe you're procrastinating on having a serious conversation.
It is self-harm when you refuse to do the things that are supposed to make you healthier, wealthier, happier, and overall just improve the quality of your life. It's self-harm for you to not get out of bed and do those things. When you reframe it like that, all of a sudden it makes sense why you sit in bed rotting. It makes sense why you stay on TikTok instead of getting up and being productive. Because deep down inside, you feel like you don't deserve it. You feel like you haven't earned it. You haven't earned the right to be healthy, happy, wealthy, prosperous, whatever. You harm yourself because you feel like you're not worthy of your dreams.
So how do we overcome procrastination? One of our favorite methods is the 15-minute strategy or rule. Essentially, force yourself to work on the tasks that you've been procrastinating on for at least 15 minutes.
If you struggle with getting started, the 15-minute trick may help you. The idea is that you set a timer for 15 minutes and you tell yourself you're going to work on whatever the next task is on your list for that 15 minutes. Once the timer goes off, you have permission to reevaluate and decide if you want to continue working or move on to something else. The reason the 15 minutes is kind of the trick is that that's about how long it takes for your brain to flip over into work mode, and most people say that once they get to the end of that 15 minutes, they will continue working because they've already gotten the productivity started. It's a way to sort of overhaul the procrastination process and to let yourself get started on something without feeling like you have to finish the whole thing. It's also a way to cut down on the overwhelm that you may be feeling because the project may feel really big, but if you do it in 15-minute segments, it doesn't feel as big.
In a 2020 article, Jari Rumer entitled the piece, "Use the 15-minute rule to stop procrastinating today." And in the article, he says the following: one of the main reasons why people procrastinate is because they have no momentum. According to the laws of physics, when an object has no momentum, when it's standing still, it requires a lot more force to get it into motion compared to keeping an object moving when it already has some momentum. In other words, you need to start gaining momentum fast if you want to prevent procrastination from showing up. The longer you wait with taking action, the more effort and willpower required to get started. When you're already in motion, however, it requires a lot less force to keep being productive. And that's where the 15-minute rule comes in. The 3 simple steps of the 15-minute rule. Step number 1, pick one task or activity that you've been procrastinating on. Step number 2, set a timer for 15 minutes. And step number 3, work for 15 minutes on this task until the timer rings. That's it. Simple, right? It might almost seem like it's too simple. But again, it's because of its simplicity that it works so well. The 15-minute rule works so well because it makes the getting in motion part easy. Getting started, which is the hardest part, becomes less intimidating. As soon as we go from standing still to moving, it requires a lot less force to keep going. We've overcome the hurdle that required the most effort and willpower, which is getting started. Now procrastination is much less likely to kick in.
I don't know if you're sitting there quietly overwhelmed, scrolling to avoid some pain, some stress. If you're going to procrastinate, let me show you how to do it like a pro. The reason I say that is because a lot of times the reason your body's running from all that stuff, literally self-sabotaging you, is because it doesn't feel like it gets a chance to rest. So what we're about to do is not even to get you to do any tasks. It is just for you, to enjoy, just to relax. So right now, give your body that. Let your stomach go. Why are you holding it? You don't need to clench your jaw. You can be completely relaxed here. For the rest of this video, let yourself be a kid again. Now, whatever situation, circumstance, or feeling has put you in that state, I want you to feel it's reciprocal. You know, poor man wants a paycheck. Sad man wants someone to hold. So whatever it is, I want you to imagine that it's done now. Tell your body, I know it's not real, but just humor me. What if I were whole right now? What if it were all done? What if I needed nothing else? How would that feel? I know I don't have peace right now, but I can imagine like if I won the lottery, kind of what that would feel like. I can remember how it feels to be pleasantly surprised. But humor me, body. What would peace feel like if everything was okay right now? Have you ever been in a dream where everything's going to hell? Something bad's happened, somebody's gone, and you are just in terror, in fear, in pain, and then oh, it was just a dream. Wake up now from this character. That's the level of relaxation I'm offering you right now. You're choosing to be here, away from all that stuff. So wake up from the pain. Wake up from the tension, let it go. I'm gonna count from 3 down to 1. And when I get to 1, you're to let go of all the problems that this character is facing. You are to contemplate what it would mean to be whole, to be at peace, to need nothing else, to be done with everything you need to do. What would that mean? In 3, 2, 1. Peace can be a choice. You'll deal with that stuff later, but for at least now, find peace. I'll see you soon.
We all can get stressed and anxious about various things in life. Bills, health, relationships. Life in general is difficult, and this economy isn't easy for most. But procrastinating isn't going to make it any better. So try to apply the 15-minute rule and let us know how it goes in the comments. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. See you soon.